Hey guys, this is Spartacus here, and welcome to another video where today I'm going to be talking about combat records in Infinite Warfare, and pretty much why haven't we had combat record in Infinite Warfare? Why is combat records not in Infinite Warfare yet? I don't understand that. It really bothers me, and I have no idea why. Like, seriously, it's been way too long, you guys, since we haven't had combat records, and I love combat records, you guys. I think every Call of Duty game should have a combat record. It's a little disappointing that Call of Duty Ghosts did not have a combat record, which is kind of weird how I mentioned that game because a lot of people hated Call of Duty Ghosts, which is why they didn't come out with a Call of Duty Ghosts 2. But Black Ops 2 had a combat record, right? And Call of Duty Ghosts came after that game, and it didn't have a combat record. Like, really? Why didn't it have a combat record? But anyway, combat records, right? What are combat records? So, you guys have probably all played Black Ops 3, a very, very successful Call of Duty game in my opinion. Of course, it did have some bad things about the game, but that game had a combat record, right? What does a combat record have? A combat record shows your total score, your total kills, your total wins, and sometimes your total losses. It doesn't keep track of all the losses, but it does show your win-lose ratio, as well as your KD ratio overall for your entire life cycle of the game. It shows what exact level you are, what prestige you are at, what kills you got with this certain gun, what kills you got with a certain score streak, how many times you've earned that score streak, and the game modes you played, how many wins you got in that game mode, how many losses you got in that game mode, all this awesome stuff in my opinion, right? I seriously love combat records. Now, it's great that we finally have leaderboards in Infinite Warfare, right? But honestly, I could have waited to the end of Infinite Warfare's life cycle to have leaderboards, and I'm just not a leaderboard guy. Like, the only game mode that I would probably be competitive at to actually get like one of the top people on the leaderboards would probably be the game mode for gun game. Like, gun game is one of the game modes where I usually win at most of the time, and it's just a very competitive game mode in my opinion. I'm very good at it, but I'm just not really a leaderboard guy. I am a combat record person, and to me it is very disappointing to see that we do not have a combat record in Infinite Warfare yet. And as you guys can see on screen, there is a slot for combat record, but it says coming soon. It is not yet like available to us in the game. Now, of course, we can actually see the combat record thing there, right, that says coming soon. So technically the combat record is already in the game. It's pretty much just locked behind an update that Infinity Ward just needs to put out so we can access it. Like, all our stats are already being counted in the game, whatever we're doing, right? But we can't see any of those stats because it's locked, right? So there's no way we can access that combat record. So, you know, the game, I don't even know how long the game has been out. I mean, what is it? It's saying it's actually 31st of January, which is interesting. So it'll be February 1st by the time this video gets uploaded. So, I mean, and like, we already have the first DLC out for Infinite Warfare, at least on PS4 currently, and we still don't have a combat record, which really disappoints me. And you know, there's a couple reasons why they probably don't have the combat record available to us in game. Perhaps there's some glitches that they noticed and they're trying to fix them and stuff like that, but I feel like it's been such a long time since they could have like fixed those glitches, you know? And the reason why I kind of mentioned how there might actually be bugs with the combat record, which is why they're not releasing it to us, is because back in Advanced Warfare, if you guys remember this, if you guys played the game back then, in Advanced Warfare, and when the game first came out, there was a combat record, right? But there was actually a glitch in the combat record. There's a couple glitches, I think, in the combat record system. One of the main ones that was huge was that if you were playing Search and Destroy, for example, and if you lost a round in Search and Destroy, the combat record would count that as a loss as an entire game, an entire match that you were playing. So if you lost 4 matches in a row in Search and Destroy, right, which of course really sucks. No one likes game beat 0-4 in Search and Destroy. But if you lost 4 matches in Search and Destroy, right, then that would count as 4 losses, which was a complete glitch. It really screwed up people's combat record for their win-lose ratio, and I think it also included their KD as well. I'm not too sure about that though, but I know for sure it definitely screwed up people's win-lose ratio. So maybe that's why Infinity Ward is making sure that this combat record thing is nice and stable. Like, just recently, and in the last update, we actually have medals, right, which is the kind of pretty close to a combat record, right? I was a little surprised that we had a slots for medal, which is nice. We can now see the certain medals we've earned, and I actually found out that by watching this one video earlier today, I found out there's actually a glitch in the actual medal system, which is kind of a big deal a little bit, where those medals you earn are not only earned throughout the multiplayer matches, they are also earned throughout private matches which is a really big disappointment, you know, because I'm looking at my medals and I see that I go on these long kill streaks, which seem pretty legit. I'm like, okay, these medals seem pretty legit. Now, of course, I can't really remember because when the medals pop up in the game, they don't last ever very long, and they honestly don't stand out that well either. But whatever medals you earn in private match, I guess also you earn them in... They count towards the whole count medal things for your multiplayer record, right? I don't know. It's just really weird how that was a glitch for they also count in private matches. But the point is combat records, right? We need combat records, you guys. Where the heck are they? Like, seriously, there has not been a Call of Duty game out there that has a combat record, and then we've had to wait for it, right? It's just, we've never had to wait for them to unlock the combat record for us. It's just never really been a thing. Modern Warfare 3, I don't think had a combat record. It showed like there was like an area where you can see a little bit of stats, but there was never really a combat record in Modern Warfare 3. Call of Duty Ghosts never had a combat record. All there was is that if you go to the right to your screen and look at your character, it would show your win-lose ratio, your KD ratio, your KD in the last 5 games, your current winning streak, how many wins you have. That's what it would show when you go to the right side of the screen in like a multiplayer menu and stuff like that. Now in Infinite Warfare, you cannot do that in the main menu unless you're in a lobby with a bunch of other players in a certain, and not in a certain game mode, but in just a random game mode in general, right? So that's like the closest thing we have to a combat record. Also, there's an after action report where you can see your global KD, but it's like very, very small text at the bottom left, which is dumb. I don't know why it's so small of a text, but those are the only ways you can actually see your KD in Infinite Warfare, is by going to the right of your screen in a multiplayer lobby, or actually seeing your after action reports. So yeah, that's the only way you can actually see your KD and win-lose ratio. But other than like seeing what your total score is, I don't know, like in like the certain stats for your guns, like accuracy and all that stuff, you can't see any of that yet. So we have to wait until combat records is released to the public, and I really want to have a combat record because I make those prestige videos on my channel. So every time I prestige in Infinite Warfare, I'd show off my custom classes, and normally I'd show off my combat record, but I can't do that because we don't have a combat record in Infinite Warfare, right? So whatever, right? So it's really disappointing. So anyway, this is it for the video, guys. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and comment down below if you guys are disappointed as well that we don't have a combat record in Infinite Warfare yet, or maybe you guys just don't care about combat records. Who knows? Just comment down anything about combat records for Infinite Warfare down below in the comments. Also leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to my channel if you guys haven't already for more Call of Duty videos later in the future. So anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I shall catch you guys later.